My name is Edmead. I am 68. I look younger. I am a transsexual, and I'm proud of it. I was brought up in children's homes as my parents couldn't look after me, and on top of that, I had um, t- not tuberculosis. Or not, is it tuberculosis? Yes. My mother died of tuberculosis, and I had tuberculosis, and my brother had tuberculosis. So we were taken away and put in children's homes, and eventually landing up in Tower Hamlets, where I am now, in their children's home in St Leonard's in Hornchurch. There I stayed from about 5 years of age, and I was brought up within the home with lots of other boys in the home. And while being in the home, things happened to myself and to my brother. Abuse started from a very early age, and I didn't know about my brother until years later, but it was happening to him as well. Um, Me personally, everyone thought that I was so feminine that I would be the one who will cave in eventually. My brother was the butch, very male, and everyone thought he would be a great success. But it turned the opposite way. I became the stronger one and learnt through what had happened to me. My brother eventually married and everything. He couldn't take it. What happened to him destroyed him, totally destroyed him, and eventually he died through suicide in my garage. Now, going back to myself, which I think this is what it's all about, is when I was being abused in a children's home, you learn very fast that you have a weapon. By being abused, by having a weapon means that the people who want you, you can use. At the beginning, when you're very young, you could say, you can't say no, because they will do it anyway. You're too young. And besides, if you refused, your life became very hard. So you just shut your mouth and let them do what they wish. But then you come to a certain age where you could say no. That age, I learned fast that if they wanted me, they must give me something. So I learned to cigarettes, money, going to Saturday morning pictures, all these things. I learned to let them have me because in a way, I enjoyed it then because I was getting love. Looking back now, I knew that I wanted the feeling of love. So giving myself, I was being loved in the only way I knew how. But I wanted something for it, so I would watch it. I would say, all right then, I would do this, I would do that, but you must get me to go to pictures, you pay for it, and this, that, and the other. So eventually I became like that. I became very strong. And this went on to the age of 14 and a half. And they decided that it was time for me to go into the world. I knew nothing about outside the gates of the children's home. Tower Hamlets do not prepare you for outside. So I was told, with my little case, my cardboard case with my socks and my trousers and my underwear, which I hated. Oh, by the way, I would never, even as a child, pee standing up. And in a children's home, because I used to go I wouldn't allow to stand next to a person, I would go into the toilet. It got known, so they used to hold me under my arms and try to make me pee standing up. And I wouldn't. I would keep pulling my legs up. And this caused quite a lot of trouble in the children's home. That's very important because I was girlish then, and I felt that I needed to pee sitting down, not standing up. I didn't think it was normal standing up. Anyway, leaving there, I was told to meet my social worker under the clock at Liverpool Street Station. I went there, I was very frightened. The train, I'd never been on a train. and everything like that. I got to the station, there was crowds of people going past, and I was small, funny enough, and I was very frightened but also excited. I stood under the clock and the hours went by, and at 14 you get really quite scared. And while in the station, I thought I'll try and phone the children's home and say, look, no one's come to collect me. So I went into a telephone box, but I didn't know how to use a telephone outside the gates. All I know is inside the gate, you pick it up, a woman you know will answer, and they will put you through to wherever you want. So when outside the gate, when I got the phone, it says, dial what number? I wouldn't know. I said a name. Anyway, I remember a man getting into the telephone box with me to show me what he was doing. But it was also a come on sort of thing. And he wanted me to go to the toilet with him, and I refused that. I was too upset. I was too frightened anyway. So anyway, we couldn't do the telephone. So I just stood there, and then when it came to about 10, 11 o'clock at night, and this is early in the morning, all night. I didn't leave under the clock all those hours, right until 11 o'clock at night. I got behind a waste paper basket, very tall waste paper basket, and I got behind and fell asleep in the behind the waste paper basket. The police found me and took me over to Liverpool Street Station, police station, which is nearby, and I refused to talk. I would not talk to anybody. But then a woman came in, and I started to open up to her. Funny enough, I could open up to a woman, but I could not open up to a man at all. Anyway, I could hear what they were saying, and they were saying things like, well, that's a puff, that's a queer, and things like that. And the woman was defending me, so I liked her more. Eventually, they did find out where I belong, and they took me to Clapham Common, a hostel for young boys. In the hospital, I was very frightened. I was abused, not abused in a verbally. Immediately, I went into the hostel. People saying things, oh, you're like a puff, and this, that, and the other. And I've very much learned to stay on my own. And I remember one night, you're in cubicles, and one night I was lonely. Where in a children's home, if you're lonely or anything, you used to jump in bed with somebody else and just sleep with them. And I thought that was normal. So I did that, same thing there. And I was severely, severely beaten up. The police were called as well. I was beaten to a pulp. And it was awful. They called an ambulance and everything. And from then I learnt that I've really got to learn fast, you know. So eventually I got a job working in the Talbot restaurant in Moorgate. And I started waking up to people and learning fast about what was going on and so on. I kept myself to myself though, and learnt that way. If I needed comfort or anything, I would go to Clapham Park. But I was in full control, you know, if I needed love or anything like that. I would do that. And then that went on for a while with the Talbot restaurant. The boss of the Talbot was wonderful. Mr. Talbot he took me under his wing, because you had to hand your money in to the hostel, all your money, and you got 10 shillings a week. And yet I earned £4 a week. So they took all my money for food and rent, but Mr. Talbot learnt about it, so he gave me extra, which was wonderful. And I got on well with all the waitresses, I met families and so on. So life wasn't bad at all. I was quite happy then. Then I decided, this is before Tony killed himself, my brother, he was at sea, and I decided to go to sea. So I went to Threadneedle Street to take the tests and the exams to go to sea, and I passed that. And then I went into a training centre, Vindicatrix training centre. Oh God, this will kill some people in the Merchant Navy. But it's a training camp, you know, and it's all billets and very tough boys and things like that. And I went there, and out of, I think, 30 of us were there, 15 jumped over the wall. They couldn't bear it. It was too tough. But I stood it. And just before when I went there, just before I actually went there, Tommy Steele, do you remember Tommy Steele? He was in the Merchant Navy, but he was training there just before I took over his job, Tommy Steele's job, which was a lovely thought anyway. Anyhow, I did the 12 weeks training, and then I got my first ship in the Merchant Navy. It was tough, the first ship. It was sugar producer, the sugar refinery in Silvertown. Very tough life. I found it very hard, but being, I suppose, a homosexual in those days, a very young 15-year-old, a homosexual 16-year-old, so-called men, of course, took me under their wing. They loved it, didn't they? A young boy, pretty, reasonably pretty, feminine anyway. And so I had a lot of attention. But the main thing that happened to me on there, I was accused of stealing, which affected me very severely. This is where I was always trusting. And I found that after a while that trusting somebody never works, with me anyway. So I was very open, and I put my trust in people, and they always let me down. So over a period of time, I knew that I had to be alone always, So anyway, I was on the ship, and I was accused of stealing, and it was very bad. They had to take me off my duties, and I was made to stay in the cabin, and I wasn't allowed to come out the cabin, only with somebody with me to walk on deck for a little air and then go back to the cabin. The cabin, there was 2-berth cabin, and there was another boy in there as well. Anyway, the stealing was done like money, whatever, from different cabins of the officers. And they found the stuff actually in my cabin, in my drawers. So I couldn't do anything about it. Anyhow, one night I'm in bed, and somebody put their hands over my mouth during the night, and they didn't talk. They just dragged me from the bed, and somebody kicked me, and then he dragged me outside. They put something over my head. The hand held me tight, and they all dragged me, whoever they are. There was mumbling and whispering, but I couldn't hear a thing really, except that. They dragged me, and as I went up the companionway, that is the stairs going up, the metal stairs, they were hitting me on the stairs, but banging me because I wasn't walking, they were dragging me. Got me, I felt the air, even with the thing on my head, I felt the air hit me. And then I felt something go around my neck, and it was a rope, and they hanged me. I was unconscious, and I was found by an officer. Luckily, this was about 2 and 3 in the morning, but I was found by an officer, and I had the marks, and I was put in. The crew obviously didn't like me because stealing at sea is a very serious thing. It's a world you're in, and there are laws, and that's one of the things you never do is steal. Anyway, they put me in the hospital wing, so I was kept away from other thingy. But then, after a long time, quite a few days, they found out that it wasn't me. It was my cabin mate. He was the one. Anyway, they arrested him, and they kept him, and they let me go. And the whole crew sort of welcomed me back, and it was like I was wonderful. They loved me. They looked after me. They were so apologetic for what they did, and all this, and the rest of the trip was marvellous. The boy who did the stealing was taken off, and he was flown back to England, and I had one wonderful trip. But when I